Hey, and here we are live again tonight. This will be the last time I go live before the Thanksgiving holiday. I plan on going live one more time here soon on Paranormal Nation. Just to let people know, the reason why I'm going and doing these live streams here on the Dark River Paranormal page is mostly to promote my book, In Too Deep. Um, a lot of people don't know what the book is about, and it's about 7 years of investigating a place called the Stagecoach Inn. And I thought, what better way to uh, talk about the book than to bring a bunch of videos in and bring a bunch of photos in and just kind of just showcase what this place was all about. I can see I got a couple people in here, at least one person in here so far. Also, I'd like to say that I got a second book, actually the third book. It's the third book coming out. The first book was Ghosts and Legends of the Stagecoach Inn. This took its place. The third book is going to be called In Conflict. It's this book here, and it's going to be released here sometime in December. I was reading some comments today on my social media page, and a lot of people were asking a lot of really good questions, like why didn't I get the place cleansed? You know, if it was so bad, why do I talk about it? Um, just and a lot of different things. And I thought, you know what, I would address those issues. I think that's important to address those issues. The reason I talk about it, I had one person say it just sounds like it would just bring on some bad mojo for yourself. I'm ad libbing. I don't know what he said. Some things that were very understandable. It's you know bringing bad thoughts into my life again and stuff. Well, you know what? It's therapeutic for me to talk about it. I'm never going to escape the Stagecoach Inn. I mean, it's always going to be there regardless if I talk about it on a live broadcast like this or just sitting in the chair or going to bed at night. It just pops into my head, that place. I mean, I investigated there so many times. I can't even tell you how many times. More than, well, however many days would be between the month of, let's say, March to about November, probably 5 days a week in that time frame for 7 years, literally. And when you do it that much, it leaves an indelible mark on yourself. People say you want to try to escape it. I'll never escape it. I'll never escape the Stagecoach Inn. It'll always be there. But if you're interested in getting a copy of the Stagecoach Inn or In Too Deep, you can go to Amazon or you can go to my website, which is Dark River Books or darkriverpublications.com. I think I have something here that I can scroll. I don't know. Let me see. Banners. Let me see here. Um, yeah, here we go. Um, yeah, darkriverpublications.com. So I got a question here already. I'm going to see if I can go in there. It's Colette. Hi, Colette. Hi, Pam. My two favorite people in the whole world. Obviously, Pam comes first. But anyway, tonight I thought I'm going to show some stuff about the inn that people don't really know too much about. This is what the Stagecoach Inn Rosie looked like back in 1856. Here it is. This is one of the original pictures. from the Ida Grove Historical Society, their records. Somebody had taken a photo of what this would have been a summer house. Okay. The summer house was the exact duplicate of the inn itself. But this is what the inn started out looking exactly like. Didn't look like much. It was a log cabin in the woods. That's what it was. It was a log cabin. And one day, some writers from the stagecoach came by. They seen this little cabin. I'm going to bring it up here one more time. They seen this cabin and stopped the horses. At that time, his name wasn't Judge Moorhead. It was John Moorhead. Met the stagecoach drivers outside and asked what they needed. They said, "Hey, can we rest our horses here? And we got some people inside the coach that would like some rest." And the Moorheads, being as accommodating people as they were, said, "Sure." Well, it turned into a thing. The word got out that if you stopped in this little place called Ida Grove, or the Grove of Trees, as they said, in what would have been Ida County, you could get fed, you could get your water or horses watered, you could get some rest before you carried on to the west from the east. Later in the 1920s, this is what the inn looked like. This is probably about the time that John Moore, the individual that hung himself, lived there. As you can see, there's kind of a sunroom there. There at the west side of the inn. It doesn't exist there anymore. But at one time, that was the school room for the Stagecoach Inn, because it also served as a school. So that's kind of what it looks like. And I want you to notice off there to the left-hand side, the far left, that tree, that's a burial tree. That is a Sioux burial tree. And all those oak trees you see way off in the distance, and the large trees you see all the way around the inn, were all used as burial platforms for the the indigenous people of that time. And it goes back thousands of years, not just a couple hundred years before the Stagecoach Inn made its way there, but thousands of years. I had somebody tell me or ask me, they said that the place needs to be cleansed. The house needs to be cleansed. Well, it's pretty hard to cleanse when, look at this. You've got all this land, and then it's in its Native American burial ground that was meant to be a cemetery. We don't have people going around cleansing our cemeteries of who's there. The indigenous people of that era, they believed that their ancestors would be held safe there on their ride to the other side. So it would be nearly impossible to cleanse the Stagecoach Inn as well as the surrounding area. Lots of crazy things have occurred there at the Stagecoach Inn over the years. It finally fell apart. Nobody lived there after a period of time. The Moorheads moved out. John Moore, of course, he committed suicide. He moved out. There's a few other people that did find residence to the old place, and then left it to just kind of fall apart. And then sometime in the 70s, this is what the Stagecoach Inn looked like. This is a photo taken sometime in the early 60s, or late 60s, early 70s. You can see there's a lot of boards that are over the windows. It was used as a haymow. Farmers kept livestock. Sometimes would just walk in and out of there. They kept straw and things in there. And that's when this group of satanic worshipers decided to make residence inside here and start doing all their crazy, fanatical things. And it's also the time when the Park Services to the Historical Society told them, you've got to do something about this place. Either tear it down, rebuild it, or just put a sign there that said that it once stood here the Ida County landmark of the Stagecoach Inn. And so they did. The Historical Society felt it was necessary to restore the inn. A gentleman by the name of Doc Kenny, which is basically kind of a sure tail relative of my own wife, her nephew. That was his grandfather. He was a veterinarian there in Ida Grove. He kind of led up the Historical Society, and he was adamant that every peg, every board had to be from the era of the Stagecoach Inn. And then this is what the final results were. It's the Stagecoach Inn that we know today. Part of that lumber in that Stagecoach Inn came from this cabin. They put a mill near the inn down by the Maple River, and they began to mill all the lumber from the surrounding trees as well as the old cabin to create what we know today as the Stagecoach Inn. So that kind of in a nutshell describes a little bit about the history of the Stagecoach Inn. It's been around since 1856. That's a long time. It was around 10 years after Iowa became a state. So that's a long time for one structure to be up. That's about the oldest structure that I know of that is still standing here in the state of Iowa. A lot of people have passed through this place. There's a lot of antiques that are in there. I've got a really cool photo here. I'm going to show you just this real quick photo. This is of a still shot of the school classroom area, and you can see it's kind of blurry and hazy. That's because there's an anomaly in there. I don't know if you can see it or not, but if you look about where the pillow's at, you see a kind of a milky looking bar. And I'm going to get into that here in a little bit. I actually have some really interesting video of this particular still shot. But there is a lot of antiques that are in the old inn. That almost sounds redundant. That are within this location. Any number of which could be holding some kind of residual energy. I'm going to go here in the comments real quick, see you may saying anything. Matthew Stover. Hi, Matthew. Glad you could join us tonight. Hi, how are you? I'm glad you're here tonight. I was just telling everybody this is going to be my last live stream, probably of the year, at least for the Dark River. I don't normally do stuff on Dark River, but I mostly promote my book. Either on Amazon or you can on the link that's right down below here, darkriverpublications.com, which will take you to Amazon, and you can purchase the book. You can get a paperback, as this one is. You can get a hardcover, or you can get the very evil Kindle, as I call it. No author likes Kindle. As much work as we put into these books and how much it costs for us to publish them, Kindle just screws us. And any author will tell you that. So if you purchase the book, I hope you purchase at least a paperback. I would thank you for that. So anyway, I'm going to go back into some things here. Somebody asked me, they said, you know what? They said the left side of that building, I'm going to bring it up here real quick. They said the left side of that building in the windows, they say it seems like it puts off a really creepy vibe. And I was stunned. This person was doing some kind of what did he call it? I don't remember now. Automatic reading or something. He was like teleporting himself to the Stagecoach Inn, which I found really interesting. And he was talking about the left side of the inn where those windows were. He felt as if something was there. And I said, you know what, pal, you put your finger on something that nobody else has really got a clue to. And I'm going to show you something. I was outside the inn one day. I was just taking some pictures and doing some things, and I happened to turn around and I took a picture of the inn. And this is that photo. Here it comes. It's It's the window. Let me see here. I'm going to go back. It's the window that's above the windows on that porch that look like they're shaded. So it's the window right above that. That's what this window is. And if you look close enough in the far left pane, you see what I believe is a face, a head, looking out that window. What makes this interesting and so compelling is I'm going to go back to the full shot of the inn. All of those rectangular shaped windows that you see were defensive points for Indian attacks. They were actually only about 9 inches off of the floor of the inn, and they were wide and narrow like that. So you could fire through them. You could shoot at things and be down in the prone position, and it made you safe from being hit by arrows. So when I see this face, I'm thinking that something is you taking up a defensive point, looking at me and wondering what I am doing there. So is that a face? I believe it is. In fact, this is what I'm going to do. I actually blew this photo up a little bit. I'm going to get a sip of coffee here. I blew this photo up a little bit. I don't like doing that because a lot of times it pixelates the picture too much, but I don't think it pixelates it at all in this matter. And here it is. Now I want you to look at this. That looks like a very round face. I can make out what looks to me like the bill of a cap, maybe a nose and a mouth, not shaven, possibly. But that's the original photo. I just happened to look at, I just was just going through the photo. What is that? And I looked at it and I was starting to zoom it back and forth with my digital camera. And I said, that's a face in that window and it's looking at me. And it coincides with what old Elmer told me a long time ago about somebody walking around upstairs when he walked into the old inn to bring in some more of furniture and things of the era of the Stagecoach Inn. He was very upset. He thought somebody had broke into the inn, and there was nobody there. It was gone. Let me see. I've got a comment here. Great book, brilliant. Thank you, Colette. Yeah, she says she can see that spirit looking out of the window. Yep. So, yeah. So, yeah, I do. I believe that this is a face that's looking out of the window. And now here's another photo. This is from the inside. This is the inside of this room. And this is what it looks like from in there. There's just an old trunk in front of that window. This was obviously taken at night. It wasn't taken during the daylight hours. But that's the sheer curtains that are hanging there. You can see them from here. Again, this is Anna's room. This would have been the only daughter that would have been with the Moorheads, and her name was Anna. They actually sent Anna away from the Stagecoach Inn when she was in her teens. She had beautiful long red hair. And to the Native Americans of that time period, girls that had long hair had kind of were seen as goddess, were seen as something very special. And the Moorheads were very afraid that a chief by the name of Incapaduta would kidnap her. So they away from the for a longer time. I believe that time it was called Lizard Lick. In fact, there's a river that goes down through the Fort Dodge area called Lizard Lick. And they sent her there because they were afraid that she would be taken. So that is just one of those interesting things, interesting facts about the Stagecoach Inn. Now, we look at this face again, and we know that there's spirits there. I have, and there's not a lot of people in here. I'm hoping that people see this later. I took two photos when I was there. When I was there one night, I took it consecutively, one after another. I had a doll set up in the would be the community room, also known as the church area, and I was trying to use it as a trigger object to bring in maybe some children that were supposedly there. You know, that first contact that I made years before was what I believed was a child that was giggling, saying, "Yeah, it was me that pulled on the back of your coat." And I was taking pictures of that same area where I was standing at, and I got two pictures here. I'm going to put, and they're side by side of a doll, and I find it rather interesting, and you're going to notice it right away. Check this out. These are the same photo. I try not to move my arms around too much or the camera around too much when I take consecutive photos, try to keep it in the same frame. I took the first picture. The first one is to the left, and the second shot I took is to the right. The left photo you can see is very clear. You can see the doll sitting on the trunk. The right photo is hazier for some reason, and there's this green rod, I call it. It looks like a green snake that's standing there on the floor, and it goes directly to the doll's face. What is that all about? I've shown this to a lot of different people, and they say it's some kind of energy, and it's something that's very interested in this doll, and it interrupted the camera to where it gives that not so clear view of the room, a little bit out of focus for some reason. So, you know, what is it? You know, it obviously it's something there. I'm not sure what it is, but it was there. And that wasn't the first time. I tried to look around. I know I have some more photos, but bring this up again. I have a photo or two of that same kind of green rod, as I refer to it, in some doorways. They go from the floor to nearly the top of the doorway, passing through from one room to another. And it's in this room. There's two doorways that lead into this room you see this photo in. There's one to the north end of the room and one to the south end of the room. And I've caught this strange rod on a couple different occasions in different photos. Maybe at some point I will find those photos and I'll bring them up and I will show them to you. So that's even more craziness that the photos that I've taken, you know, and I investigated there a lot by myself. I mean, after I had Wannagie Paranormal, there were some things that went on, and I talk about it in my book, In Too Deep. My team kind of fell apart. I was the kind of guy that I just didn't want to post anything. You know, I always felt like there was always an explanation to everything out there. And there was times that they disagreed that I should be posting things. It turned into a big brouhaha. That's why I kind of got away from the whole team thing. It just too much drama for me. That's why I'm kind of the lone wolf, Lobo, as I go by now. I investigate by myself a lot, and I did it the Stagecoach Inn. Let me see. Got another comment here. Let's call that again here. Yeah, it could be pareidolia, you know, and I've considered that as well. We'll look at that. We'll look at that one more time. But it's too, you know, there's nothing. Pareidolia is when you really zoom in on something, and then that's when you can really, you know, pareidolia really shows itself off. it's only in that one pane. It's not in this all the other panes. It's just in that one pane. Let's take a look at that real quick, Colette, and we'll take a look at that one more time from a distance and then from up close, near. So this is what it looked like from a distance. I was probably 25 or 30 foot away, or maybe more, from the window when I took a picture of the inn. And of course, I cropped it so it would highlight this particular portion of the inn. And now I'm going to zoom in closer. And that to me, it looks like it's just a face. I mean, I've seen, and none of the other windows look like that. Just that one window. So pareidolia, yeah, I can accept that fact. I can accept anything. But it makes it more compelling when I tell you the story that that all of these windows that surround the upper stories that are that rectangular shape were defensive points. Was it something that was looking out the window that seen me as being a threat? I don't know. So, and as far as this goes, I don't know how to determine what this is. What is that green phosphorescent looking rod, as I would call it, or like a snake that it's coming from that wagon up to the doll's face. Just interesting as all get out. I don't know. I don't know how and what or why it is what it is. It's just a Stagecoach Inn. There's just a lot of things that go on there that I can't explain. Now, as most people know, I did have other teams come and investigate. So it's not just about what I found there. I had one team, I believe it was Siouxland Paranormal, and they went outside and they felt like there were elementals that were outside that were all around that area, which would make sense. If it's kind of native burial ground, why wouldn't there be elementals there? And they took a picture of what they believe is a fairy. Yeah, a fairy. I'm going to pull it up here. You make that decision on your own. As I always say, you decide. I'll keep my opinions to myself. This is not my photo. I did not take it, but they captured this photo and gave it to me, and this is what it looks like. Now, if there was ever such a thing as what a Tinkerbell would look like, this could be it. I don't know. I've never seen anything like that in a photo. It looks like it has little arms and little wings and possibly like a little halo on top of its head. It's hard for me to not giggle at it because I don't know what it is. But they were convinced that it was a fairy. It was an elemental. Is it? It could be. This is the paranormal. It could be anything. I've never seen. Look at that again. I've never seen a bug that looks like this. I've seen a lot of bugs. It's definitely not an orb. It's not round. What is it? What is it? A little pause. I took a drink of coffee. Sorry about that. So, see another comment here. Probably Colette. Colette, yeah, it is. I try to get closer to it, Colette, and again, it just pixelates it so much that you cannot identify it. This is the best it gets. And I apologize for that. Again, this is not my photo. I did not take the picture. This was from an investigating team, and they felt, who am I to say? I don't know. Everything that I see, I just take it for what it's worth. I take it at face value. Somebody believes in something. Who am I to say that it's not? I'm that's just how I'm built. Um, when I see things on Facebook, as I scroll and scroll and scroll, and I see something that looks a little funny to me, some kind of a paranormal anomaly of some type, and regardless of the fact if I think it's authentic or not, I look at it and I just keep going. I don't make comments on it because you can hurt people's feelings that way. That's how you make people mad. So, take it for what it's worth. There it is. Is it a fairy? Uh, Jury's out. I don't know. So anyway, we're moving along here pretty good tonight. I'm going to show you this snapshot again. This is an anomaly. Um, I'm going to show you that video here in a second. If you can just look at the pillow, you can see above that pillow, there's like a tubular shaped, milky looking thing. There's a lot more to this than you'll ever believe. I was actually in the Stagecoach Inn doing a daytime investigation and just puttering around. I had my camera with me, and I was talking about the school classroom area. And I happened to pan the camera across the room, and I captured something. To me, it was some kind of manifestation, something that was beginning to manifest itself to me, and then it just goes off screen. Now, normally I would write this off as being dust or something because when you're in IR mode, you capture a lot of dust. This was broad daylight, and the shape of this was not round. So, well, instead of me just yammering about it here, I'll just show it to you. So here we go. This was the classroom anomaly, and we've caught some EVPs of children in here. I've also caught some pretty good. So I showed that there about 3 or 4 times in the replay. I slowed it down frame for frame. The camera I used to have would only shoot about 23 frames per second, where now I shoot cameras that shoot 56 frames per second. So I could have really slowed it down even more. So, I'm missing a lot of information slowing that clip down. That's the best it's going to ever get, but it sure does, by gosh, to me, look like something manifesting itself. It almost looks like a hand in a sense. Is it just kind of learning to manifest? If you look at it real close, it looks like there's fingers there. Let me show you one more time, and you determine for yourself. And we've caught some EVPs of children in here. I've also caught some pretty good. So there it is. What was it? I don't know. I had a lot of people say, well, Alan, we've been inside there before, and we know that a lot of there's some strings there, pull strings for some of the lights. And I thought, brilliant. I need to check this out. I need to go back to the inn and try to debunk it. So I did. I went back and I stood in the very same spot. And well, let's before I continue, see what somebody has to say. I'm guessing it's Colette, only person. Yep. Well, there was nothing in there. Again, Colette, there was nothing there but me. When I spotted that, uh, it goes by so fast. Anyway, what I was going to try, I tried to debunk it, and somebody said, "Well, it could be a string," and I thought, sure, it could. It could be anything. And I'm never above debunking my own stuff. In fact, I would much rather find it to be an explanation behind it than have it be supernatural. I just would. And so this is me. It's another clip of to debunk what I captured from a day
Okay,
or
I'm going
so
to stick
earlier.
my neck out here a little bit, and I'm going to try to recreate what I did the other day with this video. And as you can see, I'm panning pretty close to the same area, maybe a little lower than I did that day. I came up here, looked at this, swung back down, came across here to that chair is when that anomaly came out. Now, we've got to go up here to the string. I'm going to put it real close and move it across, and there's not even a resemblance to whatever it was that I captured in that video. In fact, you can see my light every now and then. It kind of reflects in that pull chain. But I was clear back here, approximately right here, when I came across, and I'm coming across in pretty much the same angle. Now, I'm going to go ahead and raise this up higher and come across in the same angle. And the string is right here, and you don't see any resemblance at all to what the video shows. And we're clear down here. So what that is, I don't know. There's no mirrors in this room. There's nothing that would reflect anything. So I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and turn the light on. Start back where I was at. Come back across. Got to come up here. I got to get real close before it even comes close to showing that same kind of anomaly that I captured on video. So you decide.
Yeah, you decide. Um, so I did everything I could to debunk that strange anomaly. I'll show that one more time, just the anomaly itself, and then we'll move on. And we've caught some EVPs of children in here. I've also caught some pretty good. So there you have it. That's the anomaly in the classroom area at the Stagecoach Inn. So let me see. Probably Colette again. Yeah. Uh, get some. Nothing wrong with Colette coming in here with questions, but a lot of people had questions for me later on comments that I thought I would try to address tonight. If you want to come in, if the people are here, ask me some questions. I'd be more than happy to try to answer whatever it is you have to say. Yeah, it does. It moves too quick to be dust, and it kind of creates its own light. I don't know, Colette. Again, it is what it is. I captured it. Um, I showed it. I just leave it. I just bounce it over to somebody else's court. You know, um, that was just one of those things. And people that know me, really know me, know that I don't care for orbs. I just don't. Our planet is so freaking dirty. You ever watch TV and watch shows and they're in kind of a darkly lit room, and it's a drama like NCIS, for instance, or something like that. And with the lighting they have and the cameras, you see dust flying all over in there. It's just everywhere, and different colors of dust. Well, our planet's made of iron and lead and copper and tin and all different other elements that make up our planet, all of which reflect light in different colors. So there I am. That's me. I'm that guy. I walk into a room with a black light and I'll see dust everywhere. It's just floating everywhere. So before I walk into a room, I'll start taking pictures, because once you walk into a room, you've contaminated it. As soon as your presence has walked into a room, it's been contaminated by your motion and your movement, which in turn stirs up dust. But that's a whole nother show. People can believe what they want to believe. Again, there's no right or no wrong answers in what we do. So I got a couple more videos here. We're getting close on time. I'm trying to make this about an hour long. I was at the Stagecoach Inn on one particular night when I had something went on that, wow. Normally I use this guy, a vibration sensor. And I was using this vibration sensor on this particular night. And I was also using the first version of the Mag-D, I believe, or no, maybe it was the Eddy. It was the Eddy. And I also used a motion sensor. And this motion sensor was what they refer to as a non-passive, which means it picks up infrared, which means it picks up heat, motion, disturbance in the environment, air movement, vibration, air vibration. The reason I know this, I used to put security systems in. There's two kinds of motion sensors. There's passive and non-passive. And the one I was using was non-passive. And I had it set up on the staircase, and it went off. I couldn't figure it out. And, well, I'm just going to show you that clip. But yeah, I was looking at this wall. Clear over there. I'm going to put the flashlight. Behind the corner of that wall is the staircase. And I'm standing right here, and it can't see me. And I was looking at this wall. Here's the plates. Here's all these plates and stuff. I was looking at those. I was looking at this cupboard, this wall, when it went off. And it went off twice. It doesn't make any sense. And it didn't make any sense. There was no reason for that motion sensor to go off on that staircase. It was an enclosed area. I had the motion sensor sitting about the fourth step up on the staircase, pointing at that wall that I was shining the flashlight on from the inside of that wall. So something had to go past it. So there was motion that went past it, and there was something of different temperature that went past it in order for it to go off. And so, me being me, I examined it as closely as I could, and I just basically said, look, do it again. Maybe maybe I can't be in this room when I witness this to happen. And so, well, check it out. I'm going to walk around that corner one more time. I'm going to walk around. I'm going to go in that other room. Can you set that off for me again? Maybe you like doing it when I'm not in the room. I'm feeling really cold again. Anyway, here I go. I'm going to walk around over here. I'm in this room. Nothing. Jesus, there it goes again. And I asked it to. God dang, I asked it to. And there it goes. How much more validation? Yeah, how much more validation you want than that? Sorry about the editing. I cut it off. But it was that top level device that was the motion sensor that went off. Those other sensors down below where it was actually picking up that thing screaming. It was picking up that EM of that motion sensor screaming. So that was probably one of the coolest catches next to the steering wheel that I've ever got. When I was filming, I was completely away from that motion sensor. There was actually two walls between me and the sensor. There was the wall that was in the kitchen, and then there's that large open space, which is the men's room, and then there's the wall for the staircase, and it went off. So I'm going to show both of these clips in succession to each other, and you decide what set that motion sensor off. Here they come. But yeah, I was looking at this wall. I mean, clear over there. I'm going to put the flashlight. Behind the corner of that wall is the staircase. And I'm standing right here and it can't see me. And I was looking at this wall. Here's the plates. Here's all these plates and stuff. I was looking at those. I was looking at this cupboard, this wall, when it went off. And it went off twice. It doesn't make any sense. I'm going to walk around that corner one more time. I'm going to walk around. I'm going to go in that other room. Can you set that off for me again? Maybe you like doing it when I'm not in the room. I'm feeling really cold again. Anyway, here I go. I'm going to walk around over here. I'm in this room. Nothing. Jesus, there it goes again. And I asked it to. God dang, I asked it to. And there it goes. How much more validation? You know, I think about all the times that I beg people to come and investigate the Stagecoach Inn, and it'll never be open to investigations again. And that's sad, but good at the same time. Okay, you know, it's a place that does need to be investigated. It needs to be left alone. It needs to remain as a destination to discover and learn history. That's what the Stagecoach Inn is all about. If you want to learn about how people lived in the early 1800s, how they survived, how they lived off the land, how they provided for themselves, this is a wonderful place to go to. But it's not one of those places that you want to stick that proverbial paranormal stick into and see what you can stir up, because it will poke back. I found that out firsthand. People say, why do you keep talking about it? Well, it's always there. It'll always be there forever. Somebody said that you should stop talking about it. Well, a little late right now. It's a little late. That ship has sailed. I wrote a book about it. Okay. It's in print. This place wants me to come back. It really does. I have no doubt in my mind that it wants me to come back. It wants to come back. It wants to torment me. I have dreams about this place. Now, whether it's kind of some kind of a paranormal PTSD, it may be, you know, or it's just something just likes to get in my head. It has nothing to do with cleansing. I've done the cleansings. I've talked to the priests. I've done all this kind of things. You know, it's just that those scars run deep. I did something I never should have done. I should not have investigated this place for the period of time that I did. That's my fault. That's on me. I can't blame nobody but me in my own arrogance to think that I was bigger than whatever was there. We're never bigger than that. We can't see it. It can see us. We can't see it. You know, it's like walking into a dark room with the lights completely off and having somebody just beat the hell out of you with a pillow. You know, some ninja in there. You know, you just don't see him. And that's what this paranormal can be like. It's a very dangerous field to get into. You know, people say, oh, it's not that bad. Well, until you've actually experienced a haunting and have been haunted, truly haunted, will you ever understand it? Um, I have said many times, if I could have figured out a way to put those emotions and feelings and thoughts into a can and compress them in there, and then at the right moment, open that can up and have all that stuff come out, and then people could witness it and feel it. They go, "Oh, okay, I get it now." You can tell somebody how bad it hurts to hit your thumb with a hammer. And I believe me, I've done it. I've been in the construction field most of my life. I've hit my thumb with a hammer, and you can express to somebody, how bad that hurts, and they go, "Yeah, God, that just sounds like it's horrible. That's just absolutely horrible." But they don't actually understand. It's not until they actually hit their thumb with a hammer and they come to you and go, "Hey, guess what? I hit my thumb with a hammer. I know exactly what you're feeling when you said you hit your thumb with a hammer." That's why I say, until you've actually experienced a haunting, I see these little things on Facebook all the time, some old haunted house, or, would you investigate in here? People say, "Oh, hell yeah, sure would. Yeah, I go." No, not me. I've experienced haunting. I know what it is. I know what it's about. I've experienced it. I know what it can do to your life. I have no interest in that. I will never pay to go to a place where I got to investigate. I just won't do it. I get invited to these places, but I won't pay. Why would I want to pay to go to some place that could potentially be harmful? I don't care who you are as far as how you protect yourself. Even Father Ruben Lopez, who is an ordained minister with the New York Diocese, he's an exorcist. He says, unless you practice this every day, like he has for the past 50 years, it just takes 1 second, 1 millisecond to let your guard down, away from God, away from your belief system. 1 minute% of a second that these things can get inside and they find a way to affect your life. So that's my little preaching for the day. Take it for what it's worth. It's just, that's just me. I brag that I've done this for 4 decades. If anything that I've learned in those 4 decades, it is that. It is how this can affect you. I cannot say how to investigate. You can do that whatever way you want, whatever works for you. I'm not that kind of a person. I can just tell you that this is a very dangerous and toxic profession. As soon as you say, "Hello, is there somebody there?" you're in, baby. You're in. And sometimes there's no getting out. It's a very dark river. And I that's why I named my group, myself, Dark River Paranormal, because it can be a very dark place. And sometimes you can't swim out. Sometimes it'll always be with you. Once you've taken a gulp of that water, it's in you forever. And I thoroughly believe that. And the Stagecoach Inn opened my eyes to that. It let me know that I was small. I was like a grain of sand on a beach of sand on a huge planet. I'm so small compared to what goes on out there. And so with that, again, this was my last broadcast. I was just here to try to peddle my book. If you'd like a copy of In Too Deep, you can go to the website, darkriverpublications.com. You can also go to Amazon, which the website would take you there anyway, and purchase a book. If you'd like a signed copy, you can message me either here on my Dark River page, and say, "Hey, man, I'd like a book. I'd like you to sign it for me. Can you send me one?" I said, "Yeah, we'll make arrangements. We'll figure something out." I've got one of those squares, that I can get your information and I'll have it sent off to you the same day. Write something for you on the inside. But until then, I got one more live stream to do, and it's going to be on my Paranormal Nation page. When I investigated with Dr. Rebecca Foster at the YMCA, the very haunted YMCA. If you ever have a chance to go there, go. but be very careful. There is, again, in that place, there's something very dark going on there as well. Dr. Rebecca Foster, who's a clairvoyant, she pretty much uh, tuned into that pretty quickly. And there's a lot of video that I'm going to be presenting in that particular episode of Paranormal Nation. I think I got a total of like 15 clips, and they're long clips, but they're very interesting. A lot of stuff was going on. So anyway, with that, we're at at my time, the 7 o'clock hour. I appreciate those that hung in there and watched. I appreciate everybody. If you ever need to tag along, you want some camera equipment that'll catch some really cool stuff, give me a shout. If I'm available, I'd be more than happy to come along and help you out. If it's a known haunted location that people have, I mean, if it's been said, yeah, this place is haunted and it's been validated already, I'm not going to go. I won't show up. Why do I need to show up to a place that's already been validated to be haunted? I don't want no part of it. It's haunted. Okay, good enough for me. I don't want to go there. I've experienced it. I've done it, been down that road, been there, done that, so to speak. If you just want that extra validation to a place that you think is haunted, yes, I will come along and then I will tell you my opinion of what you need to do. You do with it what you want to from there. That's just how it all works with me. So anyway, y'all have a wonderful evening. See people falling out of here. And have a great Thanksgiving. And I will see you all then. Until then, be safe, be kind to one another, and catch some ghosts. See ya.